Wonderful. So we are inside today's Sister Sense webinar, 3 Steps to Real Profits and Better Sales. We're going to get started in just a bit. Like I said, I want to give other ladies an opportunity to get on our live webinar and call today. But just for a bit, I'm just going to hit unmute here so that for those of you on the call, you can share who you are and what you're doing. And Robin, I see you're here. Wonderful. Just so that you can let us know who you are and what brought you on today's webinar. So you all should be muted. If you're not muted, you can hit *6 to unmute yourself or *5 to mute yourself back if you feel like there's too much back feed. But hello, ladies. Who's on the call today?
My name is Marcel.
I know that's going to happen. It's okay. Who, again, you say Marisol?
Marcel Johnson from New Jersey. And
hello, Marcel.
Hi. I've been on another webinar that you sponsored. It was excellent, and so I need to find out steps to real profits and better sales.
Wonderful. Tell me more about your business and let people know what you're up to.
My business is called Silent Liaison. It is a public relations and meeting planning company. Again, I'm based in New Jersey. My clients, I specialize in faith-based organizations as well as nonprofits.
Okay, great. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be talking today about profit and sales, and I've got some initial steps as far as what you need to do, especially for those in the beginning process or trying to figure out how to restart and begin again. So hopefully you can get some wonderful tidbits and some aha moments from today's call. Is there anyone else who wants to introduce themselves and let me know who you are and where you're from?
Renee Wiggins.
Hey, Renee, glad you made today's call. How are you?
Fine. Yeah, because normally I'm at work, and today I'm home. So
good. It worked out.
So that worked out, right? The company is called Results by Renee. I'm a health and wellness consultant and a stress management consultant as well, helping people to develop good eating and exercise habits as well as stress management habits. The process of really trying to market my book, Being Fabulously Fit in God's Kingdom, a 40-day journey to wellness. So I've been busy this month and hooking up with various other coaches and trying to get this book out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning a teleseminar. I think it was on your website, 28 Grateful Women Talks. I really enjoy that. So I hooked up with that coach, and I'm going to do something like that in April. It'll be 28 days of nutrition, fitness, personal trainers, life coach, and vegan chefs or cooks to talk about eating, well, just healthy living. I haven't really gotten up the title yet.
Well, that's wonderful. So now that you've had some experiences on teleseminars, you're going to take that next leap and start creating some for yourself.
Correct.
Good. I'm so glad. So we've got Renee here, Marcel here. I'm just going to see if I can on. Okay, because there is some backseat as ladies are coming on. If you can hit *6 to unmute yourself, if there's anyone else who wants to introduce themselves before we get started, and we'll do so at about 2 more minutes just to give some more ladies an opportunity to get on our call. Okay, I think I have to hit unmute, but is there anyone else who'd like to share before we get started? Okay, so I see ladies are coming in and they're getting situated. If there is anyone else who'd like to introduce themselves before we get started, here's your last chance, and then we'll get into our webinar session for today. Okay. I think we're ready to begin. So, ladies, as I mentioned, today we are doing a Sister Sense webinar session. I always love having these opportunities to connect with you guys and help you get back to business or get clear on what you need to do to make sense of making money online. So today's webinar is actually inspired by my Unblock Your Blessings 90-day challenge, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a second. But the idea here is to kind of give you some clarity on what you need to do with respect to not just making profits, but I believe making real profits, substantial profits, something that is going to make you feel like your business is moving forward and you're doing what you need to do to progress. So talking about profit and sales, that's really our agenda for today. Now, as I mentioned before, the hashtag for our sessions today is SSPC13 on Twitter. So I'm just going to reconnect on Twitter here just to let you guys again know that as we're getting started, I want you to go on Twitter and connect with the ladies in this group. I believe that the Power Circle isn't just about me talking to you, but you connecting amongst each other. So I want you to also take this opportunity to share who you are, what your business is, and of course, follow the ladies who you don't know within our circle so that you can expand your circle as well. So again, before we get started, head on over to twitter.com, hashtag SSPC13, so we can kick our session off for today. Okay, wonderful. So, diving into our session. As I mentioned before, can you type out the hashtag? Okay, let me just do that for you before I go any further here. The hashtag, again, is pound SSPC13. Okay, so there you go. As I mentioned before, the whole concept of today's webinar session, it was inspired by my Unblock Your Blessings free 90-day challenge, which some of you are participating in. If you don't know about, you can absolutely participate in at unblockyourblessings.com. Essentially, there are 12 steps that I've been kind of working on and developing with respect to figuring out how it is that I can make things happen in my life. How do you overcome circumstances and overcome mindsets and things that people say, things that you think you can do but somehow seem impossible? How do you pass and move past all of these things to unblock your blessings? So that's what I'm talking about in this 90-day challenge. So every week for 12 weeks, I share one step with you, and the challenge really begins when you begin. So although we started in October, if you sign up today at unblockyourblessings.com, the challenge will begin for you today, and then every 7 days for the next 12 weeks, you will get a step to follow along with. So getting the Be Blessed vision boards, and I'm going to talk about that as well today, from some of the ladies who started the challenge, and they're excited about unblocking those blessings and really creating change within the next 90 days. I got some questions and felt inspired and motivated to do this webinar today, just specifically talking about your magic numbers, your profit, your sales, all that good stuff. So before I talk about the next phase of this session today, just a reminder that, like I mentioned before, we started this challenge in October, and it all culminates in January when we meet at the Sister Sense Power Circle at the Aloft Hotel in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where myself and some wonderful ladies, LaShanda, Katrina, Jay Stone, Pam Perry, Carol Sankar, Carla Cannon, will be sharing different recommendations on what you need to do to unblock your blessings. It's an unconventional conference in that it's not for hundreds, even thousands. It's really for 30 to 45 women so that we can get together and jumpstart the new year, really getting clear on what you need to do to unblock those blessings. So that's for the combination of the next 90 days. That's where we're going to be, and that's how we're going to jumpstart 2014. So, okay, let's get real, and let's talk about the truth when it comes to real profits and better sales. I know you're smart. I know you're talented. I know you're ambitious. You've got a strong entrepreneurial spirit, and a lot of you here are ready to build your best business. You have the idea, the products, maybe the services. I'm a web designer, so I know some of you were working on your websites, but here's the deal. You're fuzzy, right? When I talk about being inside the Sister Sense circle and having one-on-one clarity sessions with me, it's because I know for a lot of women entrepreneurs, you're fuzzy about how you go from the dream profits to the real profits. You know, you've got that concept, that idea. It's a dream phase. It's conceptual right now, but how do you go from that concept to making it real? What is ultimately the first step? So we start with clarity. When you think about building your best business, what does that business look like? And hopefully you've got your notepad open and ready to just go crazy for the next hour plus and take some notes and get clear on what needs to happen next. We are going to start with you, your concept of what your best business should look like, okay? I want you to sit down and write down one change in your business that you believe would make you feel like it's real, it's working, and it's doing what you need it to do for you to be comfortable. Everybody's idea of comfort is different. For some people, I was recently talking to a client, and she says her idea of comfort is being able to go from full-time as a nurse to part-time as a nurse. Some people want to transition completely from their 9-to-5 to working for themselves. Other people work for themselves, and they want to transition from one amount of revenue and profit stream to the next level. So everybody's at a different stage. For you, write down one thing that you would change in your business, or if you could change, what would that be for it to be real for you and feel like it's actually working, doing what you need it to do, okay? So I'm just going to give you a second to do that. Okay. Now, thinking about what that change is, and as you write down your vision, I want to give you I just kind of want to give you a little insight into me in talking about, as far as unblock your blessings in my personal life, what it means to make visions real. I believe that every major life change or business development, whatever that is that you're looking to accomplish, begins with one small step. Oftentimes we have these larger-than-life concepts, and I'm sure you know what it is to sit there and think about the idea and think about the vision. And in the process of thinking about it, you intimidate yourself because it becomes so large and so gigantic, so impossible, so complicated, and it's got all these bells and whistles, and you're like, how does this work? How do I go from this major idea to this real shift in my life and in my business? As I talk about in Unblock Your Blessings, step number 2, it all begins with one small step. What is your desired change? Now, the picture that you see there is actually me. I'm sitting in my front porch with a close friend of mine who recently visited me over the summer. And when I was thinking about what it means to make visions real, the first thing that came to mind was my vision of what it would be like to transition from one apartment to another to finally having purchased my own home. Right? And it was a long process. It took, I think a little over a year for us to really research and find the place that we wanted. I didn't know what that place was going to look like. I didn't know where it was. I just knew that I was going to have a porch. I knew that my vision of culminating and turning that idea of getting a house into a reality was me sitting on a porch, relaxing, enjoying my space, knowing that it was no longer a dream, it was real, right? So when I thought about change, that vision, that picture, that epitomized for me being there. I knew, I said, okay, once I'm in front of my porch and I'm drinking my sweet tea and I've got my slippers on and I've got my Kindle in one hand and my headphones on, that means that it's done. I'm not looking anymore. I'm not dreaming anymore. I'm actually in my space. So that was the vision that I like clung to for dear life when I was sitting in my apartment and going, when is this going to change for me? That was what it looked like. Now, when you think about something as big as getting a house and a mortgage and all that goes into that, well, what's the first step? And I said, well, what was the first thing that we did? What did I do to actually make this real for myself? The first step was going around to all the little supermarkets and, you know, when you go to the gas station or you go to your local plaza and they've got all these little circulars, some for rentals, some for local magazines, and some for houses. Every week, every day, we're picking those up and we're looking at houses. That was the first step to making it real. And then going from that step to looking at websites for local homes and what that would look like so we could actually create what I talk about is your magic numbers. So today, when I talk about real profits and sales, the first thing I want us to focus on is your magic numbers. So for me, when I started getting these circulars and little newsletters and pamphlets and looking at houses, it was no longer this arbitrary dream of I want a house, you know, or I want a big house. It was, oh, okay, what's out there? You know, okay, well, I know I want magic numbers for me. I know I want at least 3 to 4 bedrooms. I know I want an office. So what are those numbers? How many rooms do I want? Then, okay, based on what I want, what's the going rate? What are some prices of homes that I can afford? What are the locations, you know, specifically? What's the mortgage going to look like, okay? Then moving deeper into that process, going, okay, well, based on these numbers, what does my credit score have to be so I can get an interest rate that works for me? What ideal monthly mortgage, what number is that's going to work for me and make me happy and comfortable and not feeling like I'm stressed out, you know, at the beginning of the month when the mortgage is due? So thinking about that dream for me, it went from that vision of me on the porch with the sweet tea to that one small step of looking at homes and circulars or on local websites to using that material to start building my magic numbers. This concept applies to something as personal as going from an apartment to getting my first home to something as professional and ideal as creating your own business, you're creating your own entrepreneurial lifestyle where you're not doing a 9-to-5 and you're ultimately doing your own thing. This concept works across the board. But the key is you've got to first get clear, right? You've got to get clear on what your magic numbers are and how these numbers essentially are going to work for you, how they're going to work for you and work for your business. So step number 1, define your magic numbers. The first step to real profits is a real plan. I cannot stress that enough. If you ever want to get a tweetable from me today, this is it. The first step to real profits is a real plan, okay? So I want to begin by you thinking about what your magic numbers are, okay? Now, I'm going to basically take you through the process that I do with clients. I actually had a coaching call yesterday morning, and I was talking to one client, and it's funny because most often than not, people come to me and they say, okay, well, I know I need to do Facebook, or I know I need to blog, and I know I need to focus on the website. So what do we need to do to get me social and interactive? And I say, oh, okay, well, let's talk about your vision first. What's your business? And once we start talking about that, I say before we even get online, let's get offline and talk about your magic numbers. Think, well, what's that? Well, what's your best offer? That's the first question that I pose to all my clients in thinking about the coaching call that I did yesterday with one of the ladies, the newest ladies in my insider circle. What's your best offer, right? So we talked about her business, and because she is in business right now, she has an offer, and her rate for her, she's a service professional, is $100 an hour, right? You need to think about that for you. You've got multiple offerings or services. What is your best offer? I've got an example of one particular client. No, not a client, forgive me. One of the ladies who's currently doing the Unblock Your Blessings 90-day challenge. And I'm going to show you the vision board that she sent to me because she wanted some help with figuring out her magic numbers. As I talk to you about that, for this particular woman, entrepreneur, lovely lady in my circle, she has a business idea, but she's not quite in business yet. So the numbers are confusing because she doesn't have a best offer. Now, if you are in that position, I want you to get specific about what exactly you would be selling, right? And take one thing that you would be selling, define that price point for yourself, and that's going to be your ideal best offer for when you begin and you launch in the future. We're not going to go through the specifics of that if you're not quite there yet. We're just going to say, put a number on the table of what that offer would be, and let's start from there. Once you try to get too specific and when you're in idea mode, you will overwhelm yourself and then just go, oh, my God, I can't do this. So just create a number so that at least you can do the activity, because these numbers help you get clear on what you need to do to move forward, okay? So what is your best offer now, like I said, for that particular client? Hers is $100 per hour. So next question, how much do you make on that average client project or sale, right? So we talked about how often she sees her clients, which ends up to being once a week, each week, every month, on average 6 to 8 months out of the year. That's the lifespan of that relationship for that client. So at $100 an hour, that equates to $400 a month per client. Okay, you need to know what that is for you. So if she sees that one client for 3 months, we're looking at $1,200. If she sees that one client for 6 months, we're looking at $2,400. That's how much revenue, that's how much real profit comes in per client. You've got to know these numbers. These are your magic numbers. They make things clearer for you. And think about it, okay, before I go any further. When we talk about online marketing, Facebook, Twitter, all these wonderful things, YouTube, none of these things can help you if you're confused and you're just kind of throwing up marketing and putting stuff out there and don't really know what's supposed to happen next. I know one of the clients in the circle, I don't know if she's on the call right now, we recently worked on, because, you know, I do mentor women, but I also am a web designer. I worked on branding all her social networks, her Google+, her YouTube, her Facebook. And she said, okay, this is wonderful because I know I need this stuff, so I need you to design it for me. But now she goes, what happens now? What do I do now that I've got all that's branding? So you don't want to focus so much on social media and your website or even video without understanding the packages and the products that you're supposed to be putting together, the profit that you're supposed to make, ideally, to get to what you want, okay? Base goal versus real goal. So on our call yesterday morning, I said, well, I know how much you get per client, how often you work with the clients. How much money are you trying to make here? So, okay, well, I'm trying to transition from full-time to part-time, and I have no idea how much money I want to make. I said, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. If you transition from full-time to part-time, what's the discrepancy? How much money in that point do you need to substitute the income you no longer are making because now you're part-time versus full-time, right? So she says, oh, okay, I get it now. I need to make at least $2,000, but I really don't want to limit myself, so I don't want to say that number. I said, okay, well, when you set a base goal, you're not limiting yourself. You're creating the ideal number that you know you need to bring in to sustain your expenses, to sustain your personal life, and also to sustain the business. What do you need to cover everything? That's your base, right? Your reach goal is essentially what you would ideally be making on your, not even just your best day, but your abundant day, when things are not just okay and thriving, but you building the business that is beyond what you could have ever imagined, your reach goals. I said, okay, well, we're looking at 6,000 to 8,000. I said, okay, let's go for the goal. 8, not 6,000, but 8,000. So your base is 2, your reach is 8,000. Think about that for yourself as I'm giving you some ideas here on, defining your magic numbers. What's that base goal for you? What does that look like versus the reach goal? What does that look like? What's your best future offer? So in this Insider Circle session, and if you've got questions about that, by the way, the Insider Circle is basically where you can have an opportunity to either once a month or twice a month do one-on-one calls with me. And information about that is at circle.sistersense.com. So if you wanted to schedule for several months, and really I basically hold your hand throughout the process. So you can stay on with me for as long as you need to. We talk about what you need to do to get clear, what the products are that you need to focus on, and just kind of consistently helping you stay focused, profitable, and productive online. That's essentially what I do when you are with me inside the circle. So as I'm talking to her about her base goals and her magic numbers, I say, okay, well, when you think about your clients, let's talk about some experiences you've had with them. And so she mentioned one client in particular and how they were really excited to work with her and really valued her services. Money was no object, and so they just needed to have access to her and her skill set for as long as they possibly could. And so I said, okay, now this is wonderful. For this particular client, do you have any other offer than your best offer? And she says, no. So, well, okay, if you're doing $100 an hour, right? Yes. And this client wants to work with you for as long as she possibly could. Yes. You know that on average, your clients stay with you for 6 months. Yes. So why don't you have a 6-month package versus just the hourly package? And she said, I don't know. I said, well, you need to have one. So, for example, not even saying 6 months, just going back to the 3-month example, if you create a package for 3 months and say, okay, well, based on your ... I know that you're going to work with me for X amount of time. This is the larger package, and it's $1,200. What would you feel like if she took that $1,200 package and she said that would be amazing? Now, you have the potential with what you have right now to generate more money in your business. Not changing it, not shifting it, not even tweaking the numbers so you're making more for the same thing, just by how you think about your offerings, how you present it to your clients, how you think about it for yourself. The money is there. The real profit is there. Sometimes you just need to get clear on what those offerings are. So in having that clarity session with her, I talked about what your best future offer is so that we could really get down to the nuts and bolts of what that would look like, how we would present it, and really helping her get clear on you don't just need to make this amount today. You can make even more than that, and it's just about how you look at it. And like I said, when it comes to projects and these magic numbers, if you don't have real numbers, the idea here is you're going to think about the product, this fictional product that you're going to launch eventually, how much it would cost. You know, we can work through it together as far as hammering out the details, but having that best offer, how much it would be, how much you would need, so you can start to create these magic numbers for yourself and begin the process of making it real. Now, with respect to step number 1, defining your magic numbers, like I said, clarity comes when you set specific goals. Real profit comes when you start working towards them, okay? So clarity comes when you set specific goals, and the real profit comes when you start to work towards these specific goals. Now, before I go any further, because I've got some examples to share as far as creating your Be Blessed vision board, is there anyone on the call who would like to talk to me about their magic numbers? For example, what your best offer is right now and what you are trying to package and create to share with your existing audience. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to hit *6 now before we go any further. Hi, ladies. Yeah, we are going to have a little backfeed for a second, but just giving you guys an opportunity, if there's anyone who wants to talk specifically to me about one offer right now that you feel like is the most popular offer that you're creating or promoting, and how we can tailor that to start building your magic numbers. And also keep in mind, if you are thinking about your base goal versus your reach goal, some numbers that you might have in mind for that.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
This is Ann, and I want my own catering business. So how
Hold
do
on
you
one
go
second,
about?
Ann. I'm just going to mute everyone else so that I can hear you clearly, okay?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, wonderful.
I want my own catering business. So how do you set a specific goal as far as your magic number is concerned? Hello?
Forgive me, I muted myself that time. When you think about your business, you're in catering. There are some times when people have specialties, right? So maybe it's that they do birthday parties a lot or they do christenings a lot. Do you think of, is there one kind of catering that you find that you do more often than others? That's one thing.
No, I want to leave myself open where I can provide for my client whatever their needs are. I don't want to get boxed into one particular kind of catering. I want to be able to do what they need to have done at that particular time.
Well, it's understandable. You want to have options for your clients, but not thinking specifically about the options that you provide. But when you think about the clients you've had, are there any types of catering that you do more than others?
No, not really. No, not really.
Okay, so what types of events do you do?
I used to do events for, my daughter used to be in a particular program, and I catered up to almost 1,200 people with a staff, but I don't want to do anything that large because right now it's just me by myself.
Okay.
So, like you were saying, I want to be able to transition from full-time to part-time work, and I want to be able to think of a magic number that would compensate the loss of that full-time pay down to part-time. So how do you go about doing that?
Now, okay, when you said you catered a large event and you said it had about 1,200 people?
Yes.
Okay. Magic numbers start here. First thing, if you said I can't do 1,200, realistically, what size of an event do you think would work best for you with a team of one, or if you get a few people, 3 to 5?
I'd say maybe about 200 or 300.
Okay, so you've got an event of 200 or 300 people. What would that look like as far as how many plates you would make, how much per plate? So the overall revenue you would get for you want to think about just creating a general plate, right? Okay, well, I know if I've got an event where they're just going to have maybe a chicken dish, a vegetarian dish, maybe it's $20, $30 per plate. You're going to create for yourself a package with a specific price point for a size of 200 to 300 people so that you can know how much it's going to take for you to put something like this on, how much you're going to get back from it, right? This is the process of not having just the idea, but making it very specific for yourself. And then once you have this concept in mind, you'll say, okay, well, I know that if I can generate a project where I'm bringing in, let's say, $4,500, and maybe I'm going to put in $1,500 into expense so I can get $3,000 out of this catering gig. My goal is to have 3 catering gigs in a month so that I know that I can generate an additional $9,000, just to do quick math. But these are all magic numbers. It starts from figuring out how much your package is going to be, and then you're going to separate your expense in the package versus how much you're going to bring in profit-wise, and then how many of these packages you need to hit your ideal amount of profit for that month.
Okay.
You see?
Mhm. I understand it.
Now, it takes some time to think about this process, and like I said, I understand you don't necessarily want to limit yourself to one industry or not, but at some point you've got to think generally. You've got to think about what services or packages am I generally going to create. It's like if you were going to a store and when you look at a menu, you need to know what those set packages and those numbers are. Just as we do that as customers, as sellers, we have to have that in place for the people that come to us.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, so I need to more or less figure out what type of food that I want to serve on a consistent basis, put a package together in regards to that, and figure out how much profit and gain I can get from having those packages together like that?
Yes. Now, you will get to the point where you modify that so that you are essentially giving quotes. You know, there are going to be instances where you've got specialty parties or catering gigs, but you've got to have some consistent packages that you know work for you and work for your clients so that you have a point of reference, or else you're always going to be fuzzy and trying to figure out what you need to do.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
So is it also good to have a certain type of client base?
It is. I believe that you should specialize in certain areas, and we can definitely talk about that some more. Because, like I said, I don't believe in the idea that you should not have specialties because you want to cater to everyone. The problem with that is that obviously there are thousands of caterers out there, so you're going to be in a position where you're not getting seen because you're not clear on who exactly you're targeting. And like I said, we can talk about that more, but for now, you know, given the focus is the numbers, really you want to figure out specifically what your packages are and what magic numbers you're trying to hit.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, ladies, we are all unmuted for a second. I want to give one more lady an opportunity. One more lady an opportunity to kind of give me a sense of some magic number issues that you may be having, so I can help you with that before I go on to the next part. You can either hit *6 to unmute yourself, or for 2 seconds I'm just going to unmute everybody and see how that works.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
My name is Deja Williams.
Hey, Deja, I'm going to unmute everyone else so I can unmute you, okay? Give me a second.
Hello?
Hey, Deja, you are unmuted. How are you?
Hi. Well, just listening to the caller before me, and I was the one who sent you my vision board.
Yes.
Okay. I do own a event planning service called Visions by Deja Vu, event planning. So I was having problems with my magic numbers. So with that being event planning and bouncing off what you told the caller before me, would my magic numbers be how many clients I want, how many hours? Like I charge like $75 to $85 an hour. So that would be my hours and the profit from them, my clients and my hours together. Is that would be right? Am I getting that right?
You are. It's a combination of all these things. So, for example, when I talked about the client I spoke with yesterday, and we talked about her reach goal, her base goal being $2,000 a month, and I said, okay, well, there are so many wonderful things you want to do to reach that point, but if you just got in about 5 consistent clients for your $100 an hour, you would reach your base goal. So looking at how much money you want to make and how much you get per client, then how many clients you need to reach that number is essentially how the magic begins.
Okay. I got it.
Okay? Good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alrighty, ladies, that's essentially what I call my money markers system. I don't know if you're a part of Sister Sense, but if you go on and you join, one of the first videos that I have you watch is my Sister Sense money markers, just essentially understanding how you create these magic numbers and create these markers for yourself that every month you know what you need to do, what you need to make to move forward. If you think about it, any business that you go into, they have to take inventory. You're no different. Just because you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be thinking about these numbers, because if you've got to make consistently money in your business, you got to know how much money needs to come in to make you happy, right? So again, you have to get clear. Clarity comes when you set specific goals, and real profit comes when you start working towards those goals. Now, what you're looking at here is my Be Blessed vision board. And when I talk about unblocking your blessings, I believe that there are three things to be true, okay? So I'm going to talk about the Unblock Your Blessings mantra. Ideas are exciting until they're not. Everyone gets so excited when they come up with that new idea. They can't stop writing or talking about it or loving it every day, all day, right? But then it's not exciting because either you go on to something else, you lose interest, you lose focus. Ideas are exciting until they're not. Dreams are wonderful until you wake up. We all have these comforting dreams that we just kind of say, when I grow up, this is what I want to do. And they're wonderful until you wake up into the realities of everything you've got to do, especially if you're a mom, if you work a 9 to 5 and you're busy, you've got a lot going on. But blessings are beautiful to me because they're real. When you say I'm blessed, you're talking about something you accomplished. It's a testimony. It's something that has been done for you. It's a blessing achieved by you through the grace of God. It's completed. And that's why I focus on unblocking your blessings, not just trying to make that passion a profit, but unblocking your blessings so that you can say these things are real for yourself. They're not visions. They are actualized. So if you join the Unblock Your Blessings Challenge at unblockyourblessings.com, one of the first things I say is you want to start with your Be Blessed vision board. So I said, well, how do I create this process for myself? I've got to kind of micromanage me, break it down so that I can articulate it to you guys and show you what my process is. Now, if you go to unblockyourblessings.com, you can see the whole video on how to create your Be Blessed vision board. But I just kind of wanted to share a few key things with you here. Now, the vision board is for your now and next plans, what you want to accomplish now within the next 90 days, and then next after that. So after those 90 days, what happens then? You always have to think about the present, but also the future, so you're setting larger goals for yourself, okay? Every business has to have future plans, okay, to move forward. Now, as I talked about before, just kind of hitting specific things on this board, you'll see here my magic number, right? I've got several magic numbers, but this is one of them. One of them is 30. And so one of the things with this 30 is I've got different acronyms here, and each one means something to me. So, for example, PCC, that's the Power Circle Conference in 2014, which is for 30 to 45 women. So one of my projects and focuses for this month and every month within the 90-day challenge is sharing the Power Circle, getting people excited about the Power Circle, informing those who've already registered what's going to happen. And by the way, if you've registered, I've got to tell you guys how to reserve your hotel room. So, the part of that process is making sure I know that's my magic number. That's the goal I want to reach for my event, and among other things, and working towards that. Right? When you talk about real profit, real sales, real accomplishments, you've got to get clear on what you want to happen. And for me, that's the 30 wonderful women who are coming out at the Aloft Hotel for the Power Circle Conference in 2014. Another magic number for me is 100,000. One of the things that I believe is that you've got to engage your audience, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more today. A part of the process of user engagement and audience engagement is social media. So across all my social platforms, and you see here I've got my little YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, email subscribers, across the board, I want them all to have 100,000 each. So, for example, if you are a member of Black Business Women Online, you'll see our Facebook page is 66,000. I'm working on getting that to 100,000. So you want to set that magic number for yourself so you know, okay, well, this is what I'm working towards. I don't just say, well, I want more people on Facebook. I need to know that number so that I can strategically market the space and track, am I getting closer to my goal? You know, what am I doing and how am I getting closer to my goal? What are the numbers? Making that clear. So among other things, like I said, you can watch the video to get clear on this, but setting the magic numbers is really an integral part of the process. Now, Deja, I'm so happy you had the opportunity to just talk to us because this is Deja's vision board. And I talk about, you know, you can get your whiteboard together, and I've got the Unblock Your Blessings kits that I'll be sharing with you all shortly on some material that you need, one of which is your whiteboard. Deja very creatively said, okay, I need to get my Be Blessed vision board together. So not having the whiteboard, she created a PDF document and created her vision board for herself that she can print out. But like sending it to me, one of her questions was, well, you know, my magic numbers, which we've talked about just a while ago, how I can go about setting those magic numbers. And also she has wonderful goals here on what she'd like to see consistently as far as her event planning, bank, her school loans. So really setting specific goals for yourself in your life and in your business is what you need to do. Okay, that's the first step. So once you get clear on these numbers, then you can start working on the strategies to making them happen for yourself. Like I said, I don't consider myself to do coaching or consultation sessions. I do clarity sessions because you got to get clear on what you need to do or else you're just ultimately going to be stuck. So when it comes to step number one, I want you to stop saying that you want to make more money or that you want to make more money, okay? Those are arbitrary statements. Get specific and crunch the numbers. Technically, if you make $1 right now, you've made money, but you really don't want to make $1, right? So the key is to get clear. Know the specific amount that you consistently want to make each day, each week, each month, and know the number of sales you need to reach those specific goals. That's the key. That's the heart of it, number one. Now, if you want to get more clear on that, I think I've given you some strategic things that you can do to get started with that process as far as step number one is concerned. Absolutely schedule an Insider Circle clarity session with me. Like I said, you can either do one call per month or 2 calls a month in combination with a webinar. And some people say, well, I don't understand what that means. When you go to circle.sistersense.com, you can join the one-on-one sessions with me. So either once a month, depending on the package that you choose, you can do 1 call with me for a month, or you can choose the option to do 2 calls a month. Now, sometimes clients come to me and say, well, LaShanda, I need you to show me how to use the blog. I have no idea what to do on WordPress. So instead of us doing 2 calls this month, I just need 1 webinar. So you can face-to-face, like we're doing today via this webinar, show me how to make things happen. So you either have with the one of the packages that you'll find at circle.sistersense.com, you have the option of either doing 2 calls a month or doing a one-on-one webinar with me so you can get clear and figure out what needs to happen for you, okay? So just for those of you who kind of need more help outside of this session, obviously we're just talking about the first beginning steps of what you need to do. When it's time to figure out how to get it done, get inside the Insider Circle so we can have a clarity session. Step number 2, you want to build a real audience. You can't turn clicks into cash if you don't have customers. I think that one goes without saying. You absolutely need to build your audience, right? So what can you do to work on engaging users and building your tribe? First thing I want you to do is I want you to write down right now 3 ways that you are currently attempting to engage your audience. Okay, so before I go any further, and you think about what engagement means to you, what interaction, communication, what that means to you, and what are 3 things you're doing right now to engage your audience. If you do not have an audience, what are 3 things or just 1 thing? Okay, for those who don't have an audience and don't have any systems or strategies in place right now, what's 1 thing that you think you would do to start talking to people and getting them engaged with respect to your business, okay? Now, user engagement is really really important. So I talk about different things that I do. One of the things that I do is my Jumpstart Your Business calls. That's one way that I engage with my audience, which is actually example number 2. And so every week I have these Jumpstart Your Business weekly calls, and I get on the call. I've got tons of ladies in my Sister Sense circle. I take a question each week and then answer that question in detail on the call. So then people have more questions and get more clarity. But the idea is I wanted to go beyond simply creating tutorials and trainings and going back and forth with emails. I wanted to get on live calls and talk to my audience to engage them. So that's what I do consistently with the Jumpstart Your Business weekly calls. I wanted to give you another example. I actually gave about 6 examples last week. The last week's call, it's a 2-part call. We're going to be doing the second part this week, Thursday, was on how to engage your audience and build your tribe. So as part of that call, I talked about 6 successful startup women entrepreneurs and 6-figure women entrepreneurs who have basically created a way from themselves to build large followings and tribes online without any coverage or media or celebrities or backing or grants or business investments or everything else that people think they need before they can get people to see them. Grassroots, click by click, these ladies were able to build audiences for themselves. And so I talked about each of these ladies in the call, and I've got even more women to talk about this week. But one of the women I talked about was Melinda Emerson. You may know her as the Small Biz Lady. She helps entrepreneurs and small business owners figure out what they need to do to be successful and start up. And so Melinda, what she chose to do is select Twitter as her platform of choice to talk to her audience. If you follow Melinda, if you don't, definitely find her as, again, Small Biz Lady. And every week she consistently has done for quite a few years now the Small Biz Chat every week. She's got about 240,000 Twitter followers, which is huge. She's not Ashton Kutcher. She's not Kim Kardashian. So she's a cyber celebrity, if you will. But when you are consistent and you find a platform that works for you and your audience, you can really build a tribe and engage users. So not only can she talk about things that she is doing, but she can connect her following to other key influencers. She can make money from that. She can share her material. What do you think it would look like if you created an offer today and you could hit click on Twitter and real time send that offer out to 240,000 people? That's amazing. You can do that without before having to spend millions of dollars on advertising in different old school media portals like, television or print or radio. Now you can do that at the click of a button with Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, but first you need to build your following, right? And like I said, all of these things happen with steps. So before you even get to social media, you got to know what you're selling them. But once you've got those prices and you're clear on what your profit needs to be, then you can engage your audience by dominating one particular social platform. So like I said before, if you listen to the replays and if you join our next call on engagement, you'll find out about all these different women and different kinds of platforms that are available to you. Like I said, with Melinda, she's been working on building her brand through Twitter. Myself, I do enjoy doing these teleconference calls, and so I use my calls as my platform to engage my users. For you, I want you to think about what you are currently doing to engage your following. What is your branded thing? What do you call it? Everybody has to have a thing that they do, right? And a platform that they really are consistently using, and they have to brand it. For Melinda, it's Small Biz Chat. For me, it's Jumpstart Your Business. What is that for you? What do you call it? How do you present it to your audience? That's something that you need to think about. Number 5 on this list, number 2 as far as the tips, is your thing working like it should? So after I did the first part of the engagement last call for Jumpstart Your Business. Next call is on Thursday. One of the ladies said, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm doing that to engage people, but it's just not enough, or it's not working the way I want it to, right? So one, not only do you have to come up with these strategies, you've got to think to yourself, what's working versus what's not working. On the next call, I'm going to share some recommendations on what you need to do to fix it if it's not working. But trust me, the solution is not to just scrap it and say, okay, I'm through this, I'm frustrated, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not. You've got to get better, okay? And I'm going to talk about that more today. You've got to get better at fixing your business, and you've got to stop starting over so that you can make these things work for you the way they should. We're all going to make mistakes. We've all fell on our face at one point. We've all done that. Homer Simpson's like, no, like, how did I do that? Why did I do that? But you just got to have to go through it, because that's how you go from one person to 10 to thousands to 500,000. It's the process that you got to go through. You cannot get those numbers of building a tribe if you don't stick with it. Big idea number one, really profitable businesses have really big audiences. All the Fortune 500 companies that we know and love and for some reason can't seem to get out of our day-to-day lives, they have big profitable, real businesses because they've got big audiences. You have to build your own audience. A lot of entrepreneurs in my circle that I see struggle or get frustrated from time to time, it's because when they need to share their information, their only solution is finding somebody else's big audience because they don't have one. You know, they've got to either pay for advertising or if they've got to do a partnership one way or another because they're not consistently building their tribe. You don't want to do that. Obviously, at some point, we all have to pay for advertising. And, yes, at some point, it's great to strategically partner. But at the end of the day, you've got to have your own thing. Driving traffic is one thing, but the best thing is to build a tribe of loyal followers and customers that you can call your own, okay? Hashtag SSPC13. That's definitely a tweetable. Big idea number two for you. You don't have to dominate every single social platform. When I talked about, and you should definitely listen to the last replay plus be a part of the live call, I think it's nothing better than being on the live call because, of course, you can ask questions. One of the best things about our last session was when one of the ladies on the call said to me, she said, you know, I absolutely valued this call, LaShanda, because everyone talks so much about social media. I always had this impression that I had to be on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Pinterest and Instagram and video and everything. So I just felt like I had to be on all these places, and it was just overwhelming, and I was just going to drive myself crazy. Yes, on some level you want to have social profiles, right? But no. You don't need to be on all of these places all the time. You have to find one that best fits your personality. Then with that, right branding and consistent building, you make that space your own. That's the key. You've got to have a space that you are consistently talking on, that you are good at, that if somebody said, you know, how do you market on Twitter, you know it up, ways, back, front, and around the corner because that's your marketing tool. There are some businesses that are brick and mortar, and they know billboards. They can tell you the best locations to put up billboards locally because that's their bread and butter. When somebody sees them on Highway X95, they know to come to their location. That's how they market. They know how to market that way. You've got to get good at a specific marketing strategy and a specific technique to engage your audience if you want to build a tribe, okay? So whether it's brick and mortar or digital, find a way to create your real audience. Okay, so I'm going to give you a user engagement recommendation. And by the way, I definitely, like I said, I want you guys to go to Twitter and hashtag SSPC13 so that you can share what you're doing and you can share any ahas from today's sessions. And, of course, you can let me know what you thought about our live webinar for today. Here's a user engagement recommendation. I want you to, one, think about how often you speak to your customers and what tools you use. Here's a great tool that I discovered, and it works really well for me, and it's called speakpipe.com. They do have free and as well as limited priced service points. So I'm all about, especially when you're building your business on a floss string budget, like I always say, I didn't start on a shoestring, I started on a floss string. When you're building on a small budget, you want to know what web tools and resources are available to you, something like SpeakPipe, where essentially you can attach a very cool widget onto your website for people to leave voicemail messages. As a service professional, I absolutely love this particular tool because my audience wants to talk to me. I think yesterday on the call, we had some back and forth banter, and I always like, joking around and having fun with my clients. That's how we get through all the information, right? She goes, for a second I thought you were a computer and you weren't real, so I'm glad that I get to talk to you today, so I know you're a real person. Because sometimes we're doing so much online, it's hard to have that real life person feel. So sometimes it's not just enough to write the information or do the video. People want to talk to you, hence why I enjoy doing my weekly calls. And with SpeakPipe, people get the opportunity to send you a voicemail message. So you can hear them and then you can respond back via voicemail. It's just a wonderful way to communicate with your audience and build relationships. So if you are looking for a new way as a service professional to engage with your audience, you can try SpeakPipe for free at speakpipe.com. That's one web tool that you got from me. And, of course, when you're a part of my Sister Sense Circle, and like I said, you can go to join.sistersense.com to sign up. I'm always sharing tools and recommendations that work for me and that can work for you. Now, for fun or for assistance, you can actually go to sistersense.com, and you'll see that tab right on the right sidebar to send me a voicemail. I've gotten about 3 voicemails in the last hour. So if you want to send me one, feel free to do so just for fun, or if you actually have a question, and I can help you out and let you know what you need to know. Of course, I want you to also send me your Be Blessed vision boards. I've gotten some questions about how you go about doing that. Like I said, DJ was very creative in creating a PDF. You can use your webcam, you can use your mobile phone and create a quick video. Then YouTube is free. If you don't have a YouTube account as an entrepreneur and solo business owner, I absolutely recommend that you have one. Upload your Be Blessed vision board to YouTube and then send it to me. It doesn't have to be long. I think most videos are like 2 to 5 minutes, and if that much, just kind of, like I said, if you watch the video on unblockyourblessings.com, you can get a sense of how to create it. But send it to me. I would love to see it, and, of course, share it on unblockyourblessings.com as a community so we can all be inspired and excited about unblocking those blessings to build our best businesses, lives, and selves, okay? So that's my user engagement recommendation for you for today. Now, as I mentioned before, I enjoy doing the Jumpstart Your Business calls, which are calls versus these live webinars, but live just the same, so they're absolutely wonderful. The last one, we did the first part of user engagement last week. The replay is going to be up today, and then you can participate in the next live session with us, as well as listen to the previous replays. All the replays that I've done on Unblock Your Blessings, Jumpstart Your Business calls, and I've done several Jumpstart Your Business calls this year and in previous years. You can listen to all those replays when you sign up at jumpstart.sistersense.com. Some of the last sessions I did were 3 ways to gain exposure for your business right now, how to increase your profit per sale by 50%, and, of course, a service professional, and quite a few of the ladies in my circle are service professionals and mentors and coaches. How do you close more deals? Sometimes it's the smallest thing that's making the biggest block or issue in your business. If you just had one person who got through it and know how to do it, you would just see how doors would open for you. So just giving you those little really useful nuggets of how to make more sales in your business is what that particular call is about and what I'd like to do on pretty much all of the sessions that I share. So like I said, you can go to jumpstart.sistersense.com to sign up. And yes, it is $7. I had to do a video about that because some people don't believe that it's $7 or that I'm sharing all of this information. But yes, I started out on a floss-string budget. I did not have a real budget. I just knew I wanted to get things done. And so understanding what it took to find low-cost, no-cost resources that worked was essentially all I did. So having this be $7, it's because I don't want finances to be an obstacle when it comes to people being able to connect with me and take advantage of the resources that I have inside the Sister Sense Circle. No, it's not $27 or $97 or $397. It's $7 because that's where I started, and I've got a particular place in my heart and in my agenda for the women entrepreneurs, and then in my circle who are at the place where I know what it's like to be at. So that's why it's $7. It's a jumpstart your sister. That's sistersense.com. That's what you get when you sign up. The Jumpstart weekly replays along with all the videos and online trainings on the website. And then if you want to have one-on-one sessions with me, you can do so by signing up at circle.sistersense.com. You get access to this plus the one-on-one sessions when you go to circle.sistersense.com. That's essentially the difference between the two. Before I forget, with respect to engaging your audience, if you haven't already done so, definitely go to b2b.sistersense.com for the Back to Business webinar conference that I did, I want to say 2-3 weeks ago. Time goes by really fast for me because I always have something going on. But I had all these lovely ladies come on and talk about some wonderful things that you can do to get back to business. So, for example, Cheryl A. Pullin, she talked about how to go from boring to bodacious, which you definitely want to know. If you've got a boring business, or it's not so much that it's boring, but you don't quite know how to make it interesting and engaging enough. Cheryl talked about that. The lovely Katrina Harrell talked about pricing, packages, and really what you need to do to go from broke barters to creating the pricing and profit stream that you really want. And every single woman here, LaShanda talked about how to turn your message into a movement. They talked about on so many different levels what you need to do as far as profit, engagement, and sales. So I would definitely recommend, if you haven't already done so, go to b2b.sistersense.com so that you can get access to all the Back to Business webinar replays. I'm actually going to do another one of these before the year is over because a lot of women said they wanted them. So before I do the next one and take down these replays, definitely get them at b2b.sistersense.com. And you'll have more information about the next live Back to Business webinar conference in a couple of days, if not a week or so. It's coming. So step number 3, try better sales strategies. And hopefully this one makes you laugh because it kind of made me laugh when I was writing it. But it's funny because it's true. Nobody likes used car salesmen, the ugly guy with the bad pickup lines, or the pitch bitch, the one who constantly is throwing out buy now buttons and discounts without real visible value. So don't try to be like these guys, okay? You know it because you've either heard it, you've experienced it, or you felt it. It's hard when you're trying to build your business because you don't want to sound like that pitchy used car salesman. You don't want to sound like the ugly guy with the bad pickup lines, and it's so clear that you're not going to get the date, right? You're not going to make the sale. You don't want to sound like that guy, right? Or, of course, the pitch bitch, the one that's constantly throwing out stuff and saying, here, buy this, or it's 99.9% off of that if you buy today, and if you don't buy today, and then you're going to have to pay the 300% tomorrow. All of these things are just around us all the time. So sometimes we can't help but use them in our business because we're immersed in it. And when you don't know the right thing to do, you tend to do what everybody else is doing because you're just trying to figure out, God, what's going to work. But in order for you to consistently make real profit and make better sales, you have to get better at selling, okay? So here's a fun, not so much funny, but fun fact about me. I'm not a seller. I am a creator. And I know that seems not true because I sell quite a bit, but I'm a creator. I like to create. I like to write. I like to draw, hence why I'm a web designer. But in order for me to be a successful entrepreneur, in order for me to have gone from making $500 the first month, I said, okay, I'm not doing the 9-to-5 anymore, and I worked for myself. I made $500 that first month. Going from that point to figuring out my 10-10s, and if you ever have heard any parts of my story, my 10-10s is essentially, I said, okay, well, first thing I need to do is to make as much money as I was making in my 9-to-5 to be able to say, okay, good, I'm now full-time at home, and it's legit. I can justify this. I started with my 10-10s. I said, okay, if I make $10 sales a day, 10 a day, and one of my friends and mentors in many ways, Michelle Shaw, she used to laugh at me about my 10-10s. I said, but don't laugh because it works, and it did. 10 sales a day at $10 would equate to $100 a day, 30 days, that's $3,000 for a month. And like I said, I'm no joke when it comes to making things happen. I created my 1010s. I broke the $3,000 mark. I consistently, and if you don't do this, by the way, here's a non-documented quick tip. Go into your PayPal. Look at your PayPal reports. You can see your finances, how much money you brought in this month, in the last several months, and for the whole year, from the beginning of time working with PayPal. When I look at my consistent monthlies, the first month I saw that I had broken like $7,000 that month. I couldn't believe it, but that's what happens when you're clear about crunching the numbers. And so one of my magic numbers is 10,000. You know, consistently making $10,000 a month, that's what I like to do. That's my goal. But in order for you to reach those goals, you have to start somewhere. For me, that was my 1010s. Like I said, I was not a seller. I was a creator, and I still am. So my 1010s got me to 3,000, to finally creating a business that broke 50,000. That's working on getting to the six-figure level. That's what I did, and that's what I help other people learn how to do. So if you cannot sell well, you have to acknowledge that fact, and you have to fix it. I knew I couldn't sell well, and I knew I didn't want to sell. I always said, I'm a typer, not a talker. Just let me put the stuff up there, and hopefully somebody buys. It doesn't work that way. I have to acknowledge my weakness and fix it. So you cannot stay in the creation phase forever. Eventually you have to sell, or you will go broke. Sometimes it's not them. Sometimes we say it's them, it's women, it's black folks. They don't want to buy. They don't want to support. Sometimes we say it's the website, it's the product, it's not working. I need to scrap it and start with something else. Nobody wants to buy it. Sometimes it's not about any of that stuff. It's about how well you can sell. And if you don't focus on fixing your sales, you're not going to be able to create a space where you make more sales, if not better sales, okay? So, okay, I've given you kind of my soapbox rant about what you need to do as far as making better sales. Let's talk about working on your packages and your sales skills. When it comes to your most frequently sought after information, you have to go digital or die trying. So let me explain what that means. Last week I had a consultation with one of my Insider Circle clients, and she's been watching my webinars and participating in my masterminds, and finally now knows how to create her own e-course. And so she's like, LaShanda, I'm 2 steps away from launching, but there's a disconnect. And she needed to connect the dots between creating her e-course, sending it out on an email marketing platform. You know, for her, she decided to go with one of the ones that I use, and then connecting that email with eJunkie, which is what I use to sell my digital products, right? So figuring out how to connect the two, she wasn't sure, so she got on a clarity session with me, and we worked that out. Now, you may have information that people are constantly asking you for, so you find yourself constantly doing consultations or constantly going to meetings or constantly sending out the same thing because that's what they want. Go digital or die trying. Create this information in a way that you can automate it and systematically, easily send it out to people without killing yourself, your time, and your energy. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to make better sales for yourself. You're always going to spend time wasting time doing stuff that you could be, that you know you do it 1,000 times, right? So let me get specific on what that is. Let's say, for example, your catering business. We talked about your catering business. You know that when clients come to you, there are particular forms they need to fill out. There are questions you need answered. How many people are going to be at your event? When is the event? How much is your budget? What kind of food do you want? And so every time you have another client, you sit down with them for like 5 hours and go through this, right? Go digital. Create a form where they can answer all these questions. Send that information to you. You can quickly go through it and then let them know what the process is. Create a video where you're sitting. If you go to webdesign.sistersense.com, right, you'll go and you'll see all my web services there. And you say, okay, oh, LaShanda does 5-page websites. I need a website. You click on that. You'll see a video. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, hey, let me tell you about how you build your website on a budget. So, no, we don't have to have an initial call. Before even that, you can get some information from me. And then you go, okay, well, great, I got all this information. I don't have to constantly repeat myself. I made it virtual and digital, so those things that are most sought after, that information that's most sought after, is accessible to my audience before they actually talk to me. I don't have to repeat myself 1,000 times. I can allot that time to actually doing things that are going to bring me in real profits and better sales. And the process, it becomes easier for my audience. Think about it as a consumer. When you're looking for information right now, I'm sure you are as much as a person who's in instant gratification mode as the rest of us. So you're going to sift through sites, and you're going to skip the ones that say, call me for a quote, or let's talk for 5 hours, or you're going to go to the ones that give you the most amount of information now because you really want to know now. That's what your customers and consumers are thinking. So if you want to make sales, if you want to get better at sales, you've got to get better at providing them with enough information using the digital tools that are available to you so that you can have that initial conversation before you have a real one. Okay, go digital or die trying. Now, like I said, in the case of this particular client, she wanted to know what to do, as far to set up an e-course. So she's been following. She's been in my mastermind group. She has all the information, as a matter of fact. Summer.sistersense.com. That was the Summer Circle Mastermind group. The replays are already there. I talked about how you create your e-course, how you set up your e-junkie store. I walked you through the whole thing. They got it live, but, of course, you can get the replays, or you can talk to me, and I can walk you through it however you want. But you've got to connect the dots, and you've got to do a lot of things that you're doing right now that's taking up a lot of your time. If you can't afford to get an assistant to do it for you, create what I like to call virtual VAs, which are essentially the digital tools in front of you to make it easier to communicate with your audience. So again, work on your packages and your sales skills. You've got to find your focus, your push project. So hopefully when you go to jumpstart.sistersense.com and you say, okay, LaShanda, I definitely have to be on every single call you have, you'll see there that the first Jumpstart call you can listen to today. And it's about 3 ways to gain exposure for your business. One of the things I said is you've got to focus on one thing. What's your push project? One of my clients, and like I said, I'm really immersed in the insider circle right now. So I've got all these one-on-one sessions in addition to working on web clients and my own projects. It's a wonderful, busy world, and I love it because I always love having things to do. I always say I don't complain about being busy because busy means business, and everybody wants to be in business, right? That's why you're all here. So one of the clients that I recently spoke to on her one-on-one session, she said, okay, so I essentially want everything that you're doing. And it was an emotional call because I said, she got me to the point where I was crying because she was emotional, and she was crying because she said, LaShanda, I spent so much time and so much money trying to figure out how to get stuff done. And people kept saying to me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, it's not possible, it doesn't work, technology doesn't do that. And she goes, I found you, and I was like, but she's doing it. Why did they tell me I couldn't do it? And it was really an emotional process for her talking to me and realizing that these things weren't just kind of ideas that she had in her mind. All of it was possible, it was realistic, and she could do it on a budget. That's the biggest thing. So when we're on the call, she's like, okay, I said, well, where do you want to start? She's like, well, I want it all. I want the website to be done. I want to have a membership site component. I want to have the digital projects, the coaching, all of it. And I'm like, okay, that's wonderful. That's great. I can absolutely do all of that for you, right? And it's great as a web designer because that means I've got a lot of projects to do. But I'm not here to take your money or just take your money. I'm here to help you build your best business, right? So I'm not going to say, yeah, let's get the biggest package and let's start making it, making it tomorrow. You need to focus. You need to focus on a push project. So first thing first, list out your top 3 to 5 projects that if you said, okay, I want to work on stuff now, LaShanda, what are those 3 to 5 projects that you really want to work on right now? How much do you have to put in each one as far as time, energy, money, manpower? How much do you have to put in for each one? You can't just say, okay, I want to do this one, I want the membership side, I want the coaching, I want this, I want that. You've got to think about how much is going to go into each of these, because if you don't really start thinking about these things, you're always going to be in the idea phase. Ideas don't make you money, okay? They don't. At the 2013 Power Circle, Rochelle Shaw was one of the speakers, and she just might be one of the speakers for 2014, so you can look out for that. So if you want to actually attend the Power Circle conference next year, Early bird, there's actually about 4 more seats left for early bird, and that information is at powercircle.sistersense.com. But anyway, I'm talking about the Power Circle because I'm thinking about Rochelle, and she says, ideas make you feel good, implementation makes you money. So if you watched one of the Power Circle videos, they were saying that all weekend. Ideas make you feel good, implementation makes you money. You got to stop coming up with all these ideas. Think about the 3 things you want to focus on, 3 to 5, how much it's going to take to put into each one of these, how much profit you can gain from each one of these. Absolutely essential. What's one thing you can do to make each of these things better, right? So you're going to look at 3 to 5 projects, break it down based on the information that I'm giving you here. Once you kind of have like a bird's eye view of these 3 to 5 projects, let's just keep it at 3, actually, so it's not too overwhelming for you. Like 3 major projects I really want to work on right now. You want to start with the one that's going to bring you in more, but requires less time and expense to tweak. So I talked about the coaching client yesterday and putting together her magic numbers, and she actually has quite a few projects that she wants us to work on over the course of the next few months. And I said, okay, well, that's wonderful, and we're absolutely going to strategically break these down. But you've got this one, this best offer, this $100 an hour offer that you seem to be like, I want to do this other stuff. I want to be digital. I want to go digital or die trying, so I don't want to do that anymore. But it's the one that's actually bringing you in money now. So let's figure out how to make this one better, because it doesn't require you to do much as far as startup. You've already got a client base. You've already got your packages. We just need to tweak it and make it better, and we can do that now. And so that's where you want to start. If you want to make more sales and better sales, you want to find that focus. And when people say, I don't know what I should focus on, if you've got existing projects and products, you want to focus on the one that you can tweak now. It requires the least amount of time or expense to do. That's where you want to start, and that's how you begin making things better. So stop starting over. That's a big one. Before you shift gears, take a good look at your existing projects and make one better versus trying to do something else. That's absolutely where you need to begin. Mistakes and changes are part of the process. So here's an example of that. I don't know if you guys follow Netflix and the big screw up. I talk about it quite a bit. When Netflix was getting really, really big and getting lots of clients because everybody was going from, premium channels and cable and satellite and dish. Yes, they still had it, but they also wanted to be able to stream and watch their television whenever they want, wherever they want, and get all their favorite DVDs. Netflix was just making money out the wazoo, and then they got cocky and decided to raise all their prices. Unfortunately, in the process of doing that, they pissed off a whole lot of customers, myself included, and a lot of people left. It opened up a stream of other live streaming and online streaming companies, and Netflix lost a lot of customers in the process. Mistakes happen. So you can't avoid it. Big companies and small companies make mistakes. They're just unavoidable. How often do you make changes? You have to make changes. I want you to, if you have this mindset of I'm going to build a website or I'm going to put this stuff, it's going to be done and I never have to look at it again, you have to make changes. If you, like me, are someone who uses something like Netflix, you can imagine how many times they're tweaking and working on their website. You look at it one day, and yes, Netflix is just that big red-black background, right, with the Netflix in white. But how often are they changing the design of their app or the website? The play button is here. Now it's there. The load button looks this way. Now it looks that way. They didn't have a kids section before. Now they have a kids section. They're always tweaking and evolving and modifying their content. You are no different. So if the big boys have to do it and the big girls have to do it, so do you, okay? And that's something I want you to keep in mind. And something that's interesting, a lot of us follow Hulu, and Hulu is big and it's thriving, but Hulu, they don't make as much money as Netflix. So even with the screw-ups and the mistakes and constantly evolving and changing, they're still the biggest boy on the block. I should say girl, right, because I cater to girls, right? They're still the biggest gal on the block, which means that sometimes even when you have screw-ups or you alter your business and you've got to kind of jump back and jump start into things, you can still have a dominant market. But the key is not giving up, not consistently trying to start over, but really figuring out how to make what you've got work for you. So big idea number 2, keep your focus until you finish. The 90-day challenge, unblock your blessings, really I want you to get clear on those things that are holding you back and those things that you need to do to move forward so that you can be productive and profitable and really feel like you've accomplished something in the next 90 days. In order to do that, you've got to keep your focus until you finish. So define your push project and stick with it. I cannot stress that enough. That's absolutely essential. Now, idea number 3, with respect to better sales, I want you to know your sales weaknesses. What makes you scared? What gives you the bubble guts? And here's an example of that. When I talked about my coaching client yesterday, when we were on the call, she said, I hate doing calls. Like, what's wrong? What happens? As a service professional, we've got a lot of calls to do. Well, my best offer is at $100, and I do get them in at $100, but then I also get them, and they come on, and when they say how much, and I say $100, they cringe, and I cringe because I'm like, they're not going to pay, and it's just, you've got to figure out what is your sales weakness, what makes you scared, what gives you the bubble guts, where you feel nervous when you're talking to a potential client. Do not shy away from those things. To fight the fear, you've got to prepare. And I talk about how you can prepare, whether it's in a one-on-one with me or doing my weekly calls. I talk about the different things that you need to do to prepare. But while I was talking with this client, I was essentially explaining to her, well, okay, there are people who don't want the 100 or say they can't afford the 100. What other options do you offer them? None. Well, then you have to fix that. We know sometimes the issues or concerns that our potential clients may have, but rather than try to figure out a way to strategically work with them or figure out another offering that we can provide them, we just go into that consultation and have the bubble guts and just wait for them to deny and then hang up the phone and go, didn't close again. You have to get better at sales, and you have to fight the fear by preparing so that you can really figure out how to make every opportunity, every call, every connection that you have with potential clients, how to make that work for them and also how to make it work for you, okay? So I want you to think about that when you get off the call today or even right now. What are some things that make you scared about going forward in your business? It doesn't necessarily have to be sales. You can sell a product. I sell products and I sell services. What are your sales weaknesses? What are you good at? What are you not good at? Do you suck at writing or do you suck at talking to people live? Think about those weaknesses and fears. Everything that's holding you back, you got to be conscious of because you've got to work on it. And I always talk about, what do you need to unblock your blessings and move forward? A lot of the times, the thing that's holding you back, that one big fear, is the thing that once you get past it, new doors and new opportunities are going to open up for you. But they can't do that until you unblock that blessing and really get past those fears. So, okay. We've talked quite a bit today. It's actually 1.5 hours that we've been on this session today. And in the process of sharing 3 steps to real profits and better sales, I want you to remember these steps. This is what you need to do. You've got to really think about this stuff here. If you want to make real profits, what's required is a real plan. So you've got to define your magic numbers. And I think I've gone through that in great detail today to help you get clear on what your magic numbers should be. You have to build an audience. Those companies with big businesses and big profit margins and sales, and they're really happy, they've got big audiences. So you've got to work on user engagement and building your tribe. And, of course, you have to work on your sales skills. Okay, the products, I'm sorry to say, they're not going to sell themselves. If you can find another person who's really good at it to sell for you and you give them a percentage, awesome. But if you cannot and you're the primary salesperson, you've got to get better at sales. There's just no workaround. So before I open it up for questions, I just wanted to, like I said, I've got a lot going on right now. So just a few friendly reminders, and then I'm going to open it up for some more questions before we wrap up today. Like I said, the next Jumpstart Your Business call is this Thursday. If you're not a member, you just go to sistersense.com. You can see all the information there to sign up and join, so that you can become a part of our weekly sessions and essentially get access to all the information and fellowship that I have for you within our Sister Sense online community. Like I said, the Back to Business webinars were awesome. If you have not watched, listened, enjoyed them, there's one lady who was like, I was up until 3 o'clock this morning watching. I absolutely loved it. If you haven't done so already, go to b2b.sistersense.com so that you can get the replays. I will be taking them down soon so that I can put up information about the next Back to Business webinar conference, so you definitely don't want to miss out on getting the replays. And then the Unblock Your Blessings 90-day challenge that happens every 90 days, but the first 90 days it's going to culminate in our Power Circle 2014 conference with all the lovely ladies who are coming out to speak and the lovely ladies who are already registered. There are 4 more early registration seats available. It's, again, this particular conference is for 30 to 45 women, and there is a limited number for each set, regular registration, early registration. There are 4 more early bird seats left, and you can use the code 45OFF so that you can get an even additional $45 off of early registration if you want to. So to get that information, find out who all the speakers are and what we'll be talking about, you can go to powercircle.sistersense.com, and I will see you there because I will be posting hopefully today, the information about how to reserve your rooms at the Aloft Hotel, because this conference is going to be at the Aloft in Chapel Hill. But what is wonderful is it's also virtual. So if you know that you want to participate, but you are unfortunately can't come out, it's an amazing experience, and you get all this wonderful fellowship when you come out. But if you just want to partake and virtually, you can also register and get your virtual tickets. Early registration for both regular seats and virtual tickets ends on November 6th for early registration, so that you have that for you. Okay, so now that I've kind of got you guys up to speed on what's happening now and next inside Sister Sense, we are going to jump into a little Q&A before we wrap up for today. And, of course, if you just want to let me know what you thought about our session, I would absolutely love that because I love doing these, but I want to know what works for you. So, okay, so we've got some back noise, I know, but we'll work through it. Ladies, any questions for me about sales and profit, all that good stuff? You can hit *6 if you would like to ask me a question right now, or just introduce yourself and let me know what you thought about today's call.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
LaShanda?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to, first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much. Thanks a million for this platform, number one. This has been one of the best conference calls I have ever been on. And, I'm transitioning in my business. And I think one of my biggest fears that I have is something that you were talking about, the bubble gut. And as you were speaking, I realized right then and there, I said, no, the only thing that's holding me back is me getting on the phone and making phone calls that I need to make to these clients. Mm-hmm. And this challenge can actually take me exactly where I want to go. I've been battling with fear ever since I transferred because I used to sell real estate. And when I transitioned into new business, I just and I did not know how to
hold on 1 second. I lost the last thing that you said. So let me try and mute everybody again. Can you hit *6 when I do that? And I want to make sure that I can hear everything that you said. I missed when you said real estate. I missed what you said after that. Can you hit *6 to unmute yourself? Okay, hopefully you can hit *6. I just get so much back noise.
Okay, can you hear me now, LaShanda?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. It's nice and quiet.
Yes.
I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you a million. I've been a lot of conference calls. I've been on webinars. I've been, you name every week. It's like part of my ritual. But something about this call today, I don't know what it is about this particular call. It hit home. And you mentioned something about, that bubble gut. And as soon as you said that, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. And I just started right. I couldn't stop. I was, you talked about just so many things that could just make the difference between you living a good life or the humdrum life or even just conquering the fears. And I couldn't figure out what my problem was because I've always been a go-getter. I've always been one to achieve things. And I think, when the real estate market went belly up, I crashed right along with it, everything inside of me, including my spirit. And I just kept holding on because I knew there was something in me that needed to live. So I just continued to surround myself around motivational speakers such as yourself, webinars every week. But there was something about this call. I had to say, so there was something about this call that had beat them all. When you said that bubble gut, it's like my gut turned over. And I knew right away, I said, you need to just pull out the script and get on the phone. The only thing that's holding you back, that one fear could change your whole life. When you said that, I knew right away. I just pulled everything out. I said, all right, I'm done. I'm through with this. Me and this bubble gut going to have to just go toe-to-toe because I'm on the phone now.
I love it.
It's got to go. It's got to go. YouTube videos. I learned YouTube way before people knew anything about this thing. I never did it. It's either it's going to go past you. You either get with it or it's just going to go by you. You talked about so many things, the radio, black radio, all these wonderful things. Let me tell you something. You are a blessing.
Thank you.
And I'm telling you right now, for everybody on this phone to hear it, so this company, I'm about to close some big deals. I would pay you $1,000 $1,000, so you might as well put it out there. I'm telling you, it was just this one little thing that you said. That bubble gut is worth a million. It opened up my eyes. I just want to say thank you so much, and please don't stop this platform.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that resonated with you because it's really about being honest and real. We're all striving for something. And once I can say, you know what, I know what it feels like to get the bubble guts, you can be honest about it for yourself, acknowledge it, and then just rock it out, make some amazing things happen for yourself. So good. I'm glad that you made today's call.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to telling you about my update and my progress of these big accounts I'm about to tackle and kick butt with. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to put you all over Facebook, too.
Wonderful. I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you for being on the call.
All right. Thank you.
Ladies, so blessed, so excited, really just honored to be able to share and give whatever I learn, I teach. That's what I do inside the circle. If there's anyone else who has a question or just a comment about today's call, now would be a great time to just let me know. Hit *6. And once we get through some more Q&A, we'll wrap up for today. It's either *6 or *5. I always get that confused. Okay, I'm good. It's going to be noisy for a second. Let me see if this will help.
Oh, no. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, this is Robin. Can you hear me?
Yes. Tell me your number or name so I can mute everyone else for you.
My name is Robin Warthower. My phone number is 646.
Okay.
732.
Let me look for 646 and see if I can find you.
Okay.
Oh goodness. Keep talking, Robin, so I can see if I can see you here.
Okay. Savon Cafe, the email.
I do. Okay, perfect. I see you. Let me mute everyone else for you. Okay, Robin?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I just want to say that I'm very happy to have this group, because sometimes when you're working by yourself, you need that incentive and know that you have a group that you can talk to, to inspire you to move on. Some pointers that I'm not going to go on forever, but I really appreciate when it came to the price point. Sometimes we're afraid to give people our price, but guess what? Everyone else is getting paid their price.
Right.
And so don't let anyone lower your price, because you're worth it. And sometimes, like on the other end, maybe people can't afford it, so you can do an alternative. Like I make natural handmade soap, the liquid bottles, 14. Maybe someone don't want to pay $14 for it, so I offer them a $6 bottle. But guess what? There's other people that's charging $14 and more, and it's basically chemicals. So you have to know your worth and go for it. So when it came to the prices, I always work with percentages. Like I have 100%, I might say like 30% for cost. You have to break it all down to know what it's going to cost you. If not, you may not get paid.
Right.
So that's very important, to know what your cost is. You have to put a projection in there, like you said. Maybe you might have to pay someone else. So how much percentage are you going to give your workers? If you're going to go wholesale, or you're going to have representatives. So you have to have that money together so you can make sure that you're getting paid as well.
Absolutely.
So,
you've got to have those numbers in place. I definitely agree.
Yeah. So, so I'm going to try to work on, like you said, you can write it on paper, but now it's time to go out there. And so that's what my goal is, to not just go out there and don't have things ready, but, have my cards hit the street. I'm in one of the biggest cities, and, Jay-Z, he had his CD, and he sold out of his car. So people don't see you. You have to let them see you and offer them incentives so they can want to come to you and use your products.
Absolutely. You've got to get out there. It's one of the things that you need to do. And I like that you talked about, kind of that good, better, best concept. Some people will buy it for 14. Some people will even buy it for 28 if you sell it right. And then you have people who maybe they can only afford 6 or 7. So you want to have options for them. But there's absolutely a lot more that you can do. So I want to make sure that you're, like you said, you're going to go out there and hit the pavement. And, of course, whether it be one of our calls, send me emails so I know specifically what questions you have about marketing, and I can share some other strategies with you on how you can make that better.
I was looking at your affiliate program, but I lost where it was, how to make the best out of that. So, because that's the way I want to go, as well. And I like the point that you said you have your different cells. You have like small. I can't remember exactly. You have your small price, your large price. The different points that you have, and it all adds up.
Oh yes, it does. It's actually a part of my method to making money online. I think that's what you're talking about. You can find that information at mymethod.sistersense.com so you can see the full equation. And then also one of the trainings, which kind of talks about what you're saying right now, Robin, and some of the questions you guys have had, how to work with customers who need you but can't afford to pay you. There are some strategic things, little things that you can do that make a big difference. And that particular tutorial is on Sister Sense as well, how to work with customers who need you but can't afford to pay you. So you can search for that, or you can send me an email, and I can just give you the direct link. But knowing that outside of writing, you're going out there and implementing, and then whether you're looking for stuff on your own or with me, we can talk about other marketing strategies too.
Yes. And also one more point that I want to say. Sometimes, like, you think that, people can't afford you, but you know what? People save their money to get that one thing they want, right?
Yes.
People go get their hair done
every
month. They may not have no money for anything else, but they're going to pay for that money. So sometimes it takes a sacrifice. It takes you knowing whether or not this person can do it, or they just looking for you to give them a handout, So that's another thing to be conscious of, too.
Absolutely. Sometimes our emotions come into play, especially as women, and that, they tug at our heartstrings, and we're like, well, I'm going to do it for so-and-so, but really you don't know who needs what, who wants what. The people who are meant to work with you, they understand the value, especially when you present it the way. There's no excuses. And when you set your magic numbers and you're clear on how many customers and clients you need every month, you realize how quickly you don't get bogged down or worried about reaching thousands. Because let's say, for example, your goal is to bring in somewhere between 5 and 30 people a month, and you hit your sweet spot, it doesn't matter about what the thousands of other people say. You've got your working, real, profitable clientele. So that's why magic numbers are so important, And like I said, there are going to be 1,000 of other people who either don't want it or say they can't afford it for one reason or another. But once you're clear on your numbers and you build your client base, those other people don't matter.
Exactly, because that's not your client. It might be somebody else's client. So that's not your client.
It might be somebody else's. But thank God they're not yours.
Well, thank you so much, LaShanda. I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to meeting you one day.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the call.
Thank you.
Well, all righty, ladies. Now it's time for me to take off the work-at-home mom hat and do my mommy thing and tend to my lovely little toddler as it's time to get him and work the day. The other side of the day for me. But like I said, I am so happy and so blessed to be able to not only learn and experience what it is to be a full-time work-at-home mom entrepreneur, but in the process of learning, share that information with you, motivate, inform, inspire, connect. Fellowship is essentially really what the Power Circle is all about. So, again, I am excited as far as you guys creating those Be Blessed vision boards. Definitely upload them to YouTube. Send them to me. If you haven't already participated, join the 90-day challenge. It begins whenever you start. Whenever you sign up, the 90 days begin for you at unblockyourblessings.com. And, of course, I would absolutely love for everyone on the call. I know it's just for 30 to 45 women, but for everyone on the call who wants to be there, I hope to see you either physically at our 2014 Power Circle Conference or via the virtual tickets, which you can purchase at powercircle.sistersense.com. There's going to be some amazing speakers there: Lucinda Cross, Jay Stone, Katrina Harrell, Pam Perry, Carol Sankar, and Carla Cannon. And I am in the process of seeing if I can get the wonderful Rochelle Shaw, creator of the $1 Million Equation, to come out for the second time again. So there's just a wealth of knowledge, and it's an intimate space so that you don't feel like you're trying to beg for attention from the speakers. You can really sit down, have lunch, dinner, talk, chat, enjoy, and figure out what you need to do to unblock your blessings, move forward for 2014. So again, thank you for joining me today. I hope to connect and stay connected with you over the course of the next 90 days. See you on our next call happening this Thursday. Jumpstart your business. Talk to you soon, ladies. Take care. Bye.